Okay, I'm about to teach you the most important thing that you're ever going to learn about screenwriting. Ever. According to me. But I'm right. I know I'm right. Okay, so this is called a story statement. And a story statement is a question that every movie, every television show, every long form story is going to ask this question. It's not something that I learned from a screenwriter, actually. It's something that I learned from a documentary filmmaker many years ago. But here's the thing. If you know anything about documentary storytelling, well-told documentaries, it is very difficult to build a narrative out of real life because you're not creating the ingredients, but you still have to build a narrative that has a distinctive art if it's going to be well done. So using a tool that's used in nonfiction to fine tune a story and then putting it in fiction where you actually have power over creating the elements is what makes it smooth like butter. And that's why this tool will help you to tell whatever story you want to tell in a way where you're not going to have holes in the story. It's going to make narrative sense and be well put together, okay? So here's the question. Here's the story statement. This is a story of blank character. You're going to put in your character's name here. You can do this for sub-characters, but if you're trying to figure out what your story is about, which is mainly what a story statement is used for, you're going to start with your main character. This is a story of blank person, your character, who wants a tangible want. Will your character, put in their name again, be successful, or will their internal obstacle prove too difficult? So let's go back to the tangible one. The character, you know their name. Sally, Mary, Bob, whoever, okay? Whoever your main character is, that's leading us through the story. Their narrative, what's happening to them, is leading us through the story. So you put their name there. The tangible want has to be something I can see happen on camera. So something internal, like they want to forgive themselves. They want to have closure with their mother. They want they want success in their career. These are not tangible wants. I don't know what the benchmark is for that when I watch the movie. So I don't know whether they accomplished that on screen. And because film and television are visual art forms, then it has to happen or not happen on screen. If this were a novel, it would be different. But if you want to write for film or television, it has to be a tangible want. They want to win the spelling bee. They want to get the promotion. They want to sell their home. They want to get a divorce. Whatever that is has to be tangible, okay? So at the end, you can say they did or they didn't. Will this character be successful or will their internal obstacle prove too difficult? So with a lot of writers, you'll see them say their obstacle is a mean boss or a comet coming from the earth or their abusive parent, their alcoholic teacher, whatever. That's an external obstacle, and that is your plot. It does not have anything to do with building what your story is really about, okay? You can build a plot or place a plot on top of any story, but your story is attached to the journey of your main character. And so that internal obstacle has to be that deeper need that the character has to solve or not solve, depending on what you decide as the writer, what the story is, in order to get that tangible want. So that can be lack of sense of self or lack of identity or low sense of self or fear of abandonment or addiction to cocaine. Whatever it is, but it's internal to the character, right? So let's say, for example, you have a character who is going to win the day because they are an astronaut and they're going to save the world, okay? So you have a character named Bob who wants to save the world from the comet that's coming down to Earth. Will he be successful or will his internal obstacle, his lack of confidence or his laziness, so he doesn't study, he doesn't figure out what's going on with the comet, he does none of that. That's not his way of doing things. So his internal obstacle is what's going to stop him from getting his goal, not the comet itself, right? That's how you have a well-told story, when somebody's fighting the internal thing to get their want. Okay, so this is a story of the character who wants their their tangible want, win the spelling bee. So let's say if you have, this is the story of Molly who wants to win the spelling bee. Will Molly be successful, or will her fear of public speaking prove too difficult? So that's the relationship between the tangible and the internal obstacle. Is they have to have such a relationship where it will seem nearly impossible. If Molly wants to win the spelling bee, but she has a fear of public speaking, well, how's she gonna do that? That is the question you want your audience to ask. You want everyone to ask the question, well, how are they gonna do that? That's what creates a compelling narrative, is the thing that they are up against is seemingly way too big for them to accomplish. And you have to watch the movie to figure out the how. You want everyone to watch your trailer and be like, well, that's impossible. I have to see it. That's what makes people be like, I have to see it. Because what they're up against feels too big, and what they're up against is internal, okay? So this is a story of Molly who wants to win the spelling bee. Will Molly be successful, or will her fear of public speaking prove too difficult? Here's a little pro tip. The internal obstacle for your main character is usually the internal obstacle for the writer. I won't tell anybody. But if you want it to be compelling and you want it to be good and you're like, I want to win awards. I talk a lot about emotional honesty. Like, this is the place to use it. This is the place to use it. This is page 6 of my workbook. This is what I have my students do immediately. If you buy the workbook, you will do this immediately. And the reason why I have it so many times, and it goes on to page 7 too, is because you need to do it that many times to get it right, okay? You're gonna know it's right when you almost feel like a secondhand embarrassment from reading it. Because it should feel nearly impossible. Like, how are they going to do that? They want to win a Grammy, but they are deaf. They want to, well, that's not really an internal obstacle. They have a fear of being seen, or whatever that thing is, right? So it has to have that relationship between the want and the obstacle, where it has to feel impossible. That's what creates high stakes. But it also has to be, the tangible want is specific to your movie, but the internal obstacle is universal to human beings. That's the honesty of it. That fear of abandonment, or whatever you're writing about, because you're trying to understand it as a part of your own human experience as the writer. That's where that vulnerability comes in. And when you read your stories, that you do it over and over again, switching out what the want can be, switching out what the internal obstacle can be. You know you've gotten there when you feel that on your side. When you feel that, you're like, that's it. It should resonate with you as truth. And you'll say, that's what the story is really about. Underneath it all, underneath the comment and the aliens and blah, blah, all the plot that you've created, the big world you've created, or the small town, whatever you created, you're like, that's what it's really about. That's what you're looking for. If you have any more questions about the story statement or story development, drop questions in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can. Even if you don't buy the workbook, save this, do this, do this. Do this for your script. Even if you've already started writing and you're stuck, it's because you don't know the answers to these questions. Do this. Okay. Happy writing, everybody.